Hello, this is Stories from Earth. Welcome to my place. Today we're reading Chapter 11, Quarrelsome Mothers. Halloa, here's a doll. I'll have it, said the biggest girl, whose name was Martha Griggs. No, you won't either, so there you told a lie, said Madge Griggs. I'm the oldest and ought to have it, screamed Martha. And I'm the youngest, and the oldest ought to give up to the smallest one, said Madge. You shan't, you impudent jade. So you may just clear out of the way, yelled Martha, striking her sister with all her might. Oh, 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 how you have hurt me. I shall tell mother of you as soon as we get home, said Madge. I don't care if you do, miss, said Martha. Then they went home, Martha with the doll, and Madge following behind her all the way. I thought that I was very unfortunate in the change of my mammas, for, thought I can't pass a very pleasant time with these quarrelsome mammas, and I'm afraid that I may have my legs or arms or even my head broken in a fray, which I should not like very much. At last we came to the house where they lived, and then we had supper, and I was put to bed. I cried very much that night, for I was sad at leaving my mother Agnes, and I felt bad at having such quarrelsome mothers as I now had. I never could get a moment's peace, for if one of my mothers wanted me put to bed, the other one wanted me to get up. I can remember one day what a quarrel occurred, and these were the words as nearly as I can recollect. Madge, where's my doll? It's not your doll. That's a lie. It ain't. I'll have that doll. You won't. I found it in the grass. I'm the youngest and ought to have it. Father says you ought to give up to the youngest. Will you tell me where that doll is, for I want to put its apron on? Aha! You won't get it now if you want to put its apron on, for I am going to put its worst dress on, so as to let it slabber in the dirt. No, you won't either, and Martha gave Madge slap after slap, and slap after slap, till I thought that Madge would never see light again. That night when I went to bed, I thought how much better it would have been for Martha to have kindly asked Madge for me, and for Madge to have answered kindly. And I hope that all my readers will never imitate Madge and Martha. Chapter 12. The Snowman. The next day after the quarrel, my mother said that the children, during recess at school, were going to make a snowman, and that they would take me to school with them. At 12 they had their recess, when Martha, not finding her scarf as usual, laid the loss of it to Madge and said, "You, Madge, what have you done with my scarf? Bring it here." "I have not done anything with it," said Madge. "You lie," was the coarse and unladylike retort. At last Martha found her scarf hanging on her nail with her cloak over it. When we got into the yard, my mother's brushed away the snow from off a little place on the steps, and sent me down there to see the making of the snowman. The manner of making it was thus. They each took a small snowball and rolled it in the snow over and over, and then they joined all together and made one large ball. They then took a stick and made a couple of holes in the ball for eyes, and made a straight mark rather deep for its mouth, and then took a piece of snow and made it into a nose as well as they could, and fastened it on. Then they made another ball considerably larger than the first for his body, and put his head upon it. Legs and arms were also fastened upon the body. When this was done, they all gave 3 cheers and went into the schoolroom. When my mother got home, they thought that they would try and make a snowman such as the boys had made in the schoolyard. They had got the head made and were looking after a stick with which to make the eyes and mouth, when down came the head upon Madge, knocking her down to the ground and covering her up with snow. As soon as she had extricated herself, she let loose her tongue, and another scene and storm of words followed after their usual manner. Such frequent disputes as these made me regret more and more my previous home, and long to make some change. which I thought must certainly be for the better, but the time had not yet come. Chapter 13. The Theater. The next week the children's teacher said that he would take them to the theater, for they had behaved so well. I thought differently. There was nothing talked of but the theater from morning till night, and I'm sorry to say that this was the subject of dispute too. One said that they would get the first bill and have theirs read through first, and the other was going to hear the bell jingle first and sit in the front seat. One was going to be looked at the most and be dressed first, and the other was going to get into the carriage first and get the best seat, and so on. The day at length arrived. I felt happy too, though there was such dispute, for I remembered when I went to the opera with my late mother, Celeste Belmont, and how I enjoyed myself. The children were in high spirits and kept incessantly talking of what a nice time they would have if they were only there now. I longed to tell them to have a little patience, but I was afraid I should get my neck broke if I did so. At length the maid arrived to dress them, and in their hurry to get upstairs before each other, Madge tumbled downstairs, but did not hurt herself much. Such dressing! Why, you would almost think their clothes flew off, as did their buttons, in their hurry to get dressed before each other. Martha got dressed first, and then she went for me. I was in a pink muslin with blue roses in my hair, and my mother thought I looked splendidly. We lived out of town and had to ride into the city, so we had a very nice ride. We went to the Covent Garden Theater. It is a splendid place, but not so pretty as the Royal Italian Opera House, where I went with my mother, Celeste Belmont. There was some scrambling to get to the front seat between Madge and Martha, but at last it was settled. We sat in a stage box, which was beautiful. The play began. There was once a beautiful young girl, and she had two lovers. She liked one, and the other she didn't like. And there were meetings and tumbling down places and all that sort of thing. At last this pretty young girl married the lover she liked, and the other lover went away, when I tumbled onto the stage in a bouquet which they threw, though they did not know that they had thrown me.